I am Eric Bischoff, and you are listening to the Groupchat Wrestling Podcast.
Hi guys, welcome to episode 42 of the Groupchat Wrestling Podcast. I'm your main host, Mike. Let's go on with the shit, Mike. I'm going to let the boys introduce themselves.
I can't tell you who I am because I'm now owned by the Fed.
You sort of stole my thunder a bit there. Buenos noches, mis amigos, or should I say mis enemigos in Stamford. You're hearing, I'm Dan Dido. I'm a man deep undercover in Mexico. I arrived yesterday after Doncaster. Don't ask me how. Risking it all in the Lucha Underground to expose AAA's darkest secrets and unmask the man behind the mediocrity, Conan. I've infiltrated the boardrooms where WWE's latest scheme to rebrand AAA as NXT Mexico is being cooked up, powered by the same creative minds that booked Travis Scott low-blowing Cody Rhodes. Why am I doing this? Not for fame, not for clout. I'm doing this for Bandido, my Lucha King, my hero. If he sees this, maybe, just maybe, he'll let me carry his ring jacket or hand me a guitar mid-entrance. But for now, yeah, raising this Bandido beer to AEW, CMLL, RevPro, and anyone who put on actual wrestling shows instead of awkward celebrity TikTok segments.
Well done. That was a lovely monologue. I'm Wrestling Mark, and after a truly terrible PR week for WWE, they managed to put on a relatively underwhelming WrestleMania. But fear not, last night's Raw was apparently really fucking good. So all is forgiven, all is forgotten. Triple H is the king again. They've had a good show. That's enough of a saving grace to take them all the way through to SummerSlam.
Fuck the Fed, please.
Yeah. Fuck the Fed. I mean,
fuck the Federales. That's the new one, isn't it?
Fuck the Federales. Yeah.
Anyway, RevPro, that was good. That was actually good. So, shall we delve into that? As all four of us were there.
Doncaster was the place to be instead of Vegas, wasn't it? Let's be honest.
What a place!
Bright lights of Donny.
Yeah.
If you're in Doncaster, do not go to the Italian restaurant. Go. They are nice. It looks nice. Do not go to the Italian restaurant.
Well, the thing is with the Italian restaurants is he told us to go to a bar that was closed, and he said, "Tell him the Sultan sent you."
The Sultan.
Fucking hell.
True story. This. So we kind of rock onto this bar. This late on now. And we went to the and he goes, nah, it's go closing. But the Sultan sent us. He goes, who? Went the Sultan. He said you'd know him, the Sultan. And the guy's looking around, and he's going, the Sultan. And he looked over at a fella stood next to his Uber, and he goes, oh, is the Sultan the fella with the white hat? We go, what? And he's literally just picked out a random fella down the end of the road and then he goes, but no, anyway, you can't come in.
Oh, for God's sake. Oh, my God.
RevPro. Good.
Well, yeah. Yeah, RevPro was great, wasn't it?
Great ending.
Oh, just...
It's a fantastic show, but before, just a word of warning to anyone who does go to any future RevPro shows. There's a list of chants you're allowed to chant. You're not allowed to chant anything that may be remotely fun. Nothing to do with Greg's. Definitely nothing to do with Yorkshire Tea hanging offence, apparently. And what else is there? You're not allowed to say anything about Eric Bischoff, even if someone sat there in a mask. And you're also not allowed to make any AEW related comments. But aside from that, you can
chant whatever you want. Apart from that,
mostly, yeah. But Greg's was the big no-no, and Yorkshire Tea.
Yeah, borderline offensive. Not counting the one where someone actually wished bodily harm on a wrestler, but apparently Yorkshire Tea and Greg's are off the table.
But to be fair, that one was a bit of a cunt one.
It was very cunt.
Kanji
dickhead behaviour, man.
Yeah, and the dickhead who shouted to Mercedes, "You're not in Vegas." Yeah, you weren't in Vegas either, you prick. And the entire thankfully, the entire place all turned around and went, "Neither are you." But no, it was great. The show was fantastic. I love the layout of the dome. I actually competed at the dome myself back when I was about 11 in Taekwondo. So always it was Taekwondo when I was about 11. So always some fond memories of the Dome that I actually can't remember a fucking thing about it, to be honest, but I did.
If you go to the Doncaster Dome, do not buy the hot dogs. Sorry.
You can get just stick to the double pints of course. I think you'll be fine.
Basically,
It's fine. No hot dogs.
what he's telling you is don't buy anything in Doncaster at all. Don't eat in Doncaster.
Yeah, bring your food in.
It's astute advice.
I actually love the venue. I think it's a great little venue. That I went to a few 1PW shows back in the day before the scammer scammed everyone and did a runner. They were great. And yeah, the 2 RevPro shows have been fantastic. So excellent. I can't wait for the second one that they're supposed to be doing. So we'll see whether that's Global Wars. You would imagine so. If it is, bring it on. Can't wait.
Yeah. It was one of those ones. I haven't been to a RevPro show in a while, but I came away fans of a couple of wrestlers that I hadn't actually seen live before. One of them was a chap in the opener, JJ Gale. I thought he was very good. He had very catchy entrance music. I thought he was very good. And yeah, it was great seeing. It was really weird though seeing Dijak in Doncaster and just being so, just actually just killing it. He just seemed like he was really at home. And it was great chatting to him for a bit at the end. Actually, I thought we came across really, really humble, just a nice guy.
Yeah, he's a really nice fella, wasn't he? It's crazy how well he moves for a guy of his size. I didn't realize just how big he is until you kind of until you stood next to him. It's incredible, and he was loving the brawling up the stairs and down the stairs. He seemed to be liking a fair few pictures of that later. No, it was a great match. I thought Ricky Knight Jr. was excellent as well in that match.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you in the scramble. I thought JJ Gale was excellent. I've seen him a few times. He's really good. Even if he's I'm not keen on the mullet, but that's probably just because I can't grow one myself. And I thought Robbie X.
Bald is king. Bald forever.
Well, that's a great segue onto Robbie X, one of my favourite wrestlers in the UK. The guy is phenomenal. How he's not been picked up or well, it's probably because of his size, but let's face it, he moves better than anyone, fucking bigger than him. He's incredible. He's one of my favourites. He's one of my missus' favourites as well. And who else in the scramble? David Francisco, Mr. I thought he was a stand-up comedian, but that was Mickey Flanagan.
No, it's we do joke. I had actually had a nice moment with David Francisco because he actually trained me for a bit when I was in Knuckle Lock several years ago, and he actually remembered me. He couldn't remember my name, but not many people can. So people think I look like Phil Brooks, whoever that is. But what?
I remembered you now.
So, okay, fine. Sorry, I had a bit of a CTE moment there. No, David actually remembered me, and we actually had a nice catch up. He was, it was great to chat to him actually.
No, all jokes aside, he seems like a very nice fella, and he's very good at getting the crowd worked. His crowd work's excellent. He's a great, sneaky heel, isn't he? And I just wanted him to be in a rumble so that when he goes over the ropes, I can say, "Is he out?" But apart from that, excellent. Who else was in that? It was we had
Jay Joshua.
Yeah, he's brilliant. Jay Joshua, huge fan of him. That guy's fucking. Honestly, the progress in that guy in the last 12 months is incredible. He's you can see if you watched him 12 months ago and watched him now, he's so much better. The improvement he's made. It's not to say he was bad. It's just to say he's kind of got to that level now where. He's more or less on the verge of being a regular main event guy at the moment. It's fantastic. I'm a huge fan of Jay Joshua.
And there was also Stephen Wolf and Zazaya. Well, I've seen Zazaya before. I think Zazaya's quality.
Zazaya's excellent. I just don't want to get too invested because I have a feeling the federales are going to come calling. And Stephen Wolf, I believe, is a good friend of yours, isn't he? Oh shit!
He should have been. He should have been. But we won't go into that because one day maybe we'll have him on here. But
yeah.
I've had a pint with him, and it led nowhere. Not that it was going to lead anywhere sexual. Just it didn't lead anywhere as him being right here with us right now, which I thought it might. But £4.85 pissed up the wall.
My hand is still hurting from the high five that Zazaya gave me. If you were there, Mark. Yeah, that was a loud high five. My hand is still hurting.
Good high five.
Yeah, but shout out Zazaya. And yeah, shout out Ricky Knight Jr. and Dijak. We've already shouted them out. What was next? It was the Cruiserweight. It was Leo Rush. It was great to see Leo Rush, actually. And
he's so good, isn't he?
I've never seen him that close up front in person. So seeing him like move again, like just crazily fast, like he always does, it's crazy.
I had a feeling he was going to win. I was a bit disappointed he didn't, but I guess RevPro sticking with their own guy kind of makes sense. Leo Rush did one move. I know you guys remember. He did something on the far ropes at one point that was like Matrix like, and I was like, how the fuck has he done that? I need to watch a replay back of that. I need to watch the entire event back actually because it was excellent. It was fucking really good.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was. The acoustics in the venue were great. Obviously, I'd like to hear it like in recording and see like how loud it was in comparison and all that as well, and just see what the matches were like, as if I was watching it on TV. But I suppose the one I was really looking forward to was the Gauntlet. That was great. That was a great half an hour,
Fantastic.
wasn't it? Jesus.
Yeah, that flew by. It was excellent. So many surprises in that as well. Yeah, I did not expect Emerson Jane to be there. Crowd went crazy when she came out. Didn't expect Amira, which was that was a great couple of minutes when she. I thought, well, was it a few minutes? Maybe half a minute, but whatever. When she popped in, hit a few spears, and then tried to spear LA Taylor and just bounced off her. Excellent. I just thought the match was so well done. Lizzie Evo and Deeb starting it off gave me a great moment personally because at the Hooters event last week, Lizzie Evo kept calling an opponent a rat. So she had this moment when she went to shake hands with Serena Deeb and everyone went quiet. So I went, "Don't trust her, she's a rat." And she stopped and looked directly at us and then punched it instead. So yeah, I'd like to think I affected that moment myself. I didn't. She's going to do it anyway. Maybe it spoils it. But no, it was excellent. She's fucking brilliant in ring. She's so good.
Yeah.
And Charlie Evans, incredible.
It's good to see her. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. I think Sky Smithson came in third, I think.
Yeah, she was third, and then the bit where she and LA Taylor had that moment, and then I started the experience chant, which is apparently allowed. I need to double check, but I think that's a chant that was allowed.
We'll check the rules next time.
Yeah, but it seemed to get a few little reactions out of them, which is cool. I like the experience. I think they're quality tag team, and seeing them in RevPro was quite awesome.
The jumping high fives always ace.
Always.
So yeah, no, that was cool. Who else do we have with Charlie Evans?
Sapphire Reed and Mercedes Blaze as part of the Throat Collective.
Yeah, which got me a little excited, thinking we might see Alex Windsor. I kind of knew we wouldn't see Nina Samuels because she was a Mania.
Yeah,
bad choice. But no,
Lancaster was the place to be.
It was, but no, it was excellent. It was so good. And towards the Danny Luna as well, and towards the end, we seem to be focusing mainly on Danny Luna and Emerson Jane, if you guys remember, and they were really going at it. So it looked like it was going to be one of them, unless someone snuck a win. They dominated everybody. I've got a great clip with Emerson Jane doing a moonsault off the top rope to the outside. It's fucking class. And we got Danny Luna gets the win in the end. Probably the right choice, but I don't know if that's something they would possibly do in terms of facing Mercedes, just because she's TNA. And the Federales would love to fucking twist that any way they could if she was to pick up a win, or even if she's not scheduled to win, if you get an accidental win, maybe an injury or something, then the Federales would take that and run with it. She'd be called up to the main roster within 5 seconds.
It's true. I don't know. We'll have to see. But I mean, to me, it feels like as long as like Mercedes is fine, then she's going to win, which will kind of keep all the Twitter mongrels who say that she's fucking Hulk Hogan. Keep them happy, if you like, because they got more fuel to add to the fire, if you like. But
the thing with the Hogan references always fucks me over is like, I mean, we'll probably get into this a little bit more in a bit, but it's she makes everybody look 10 times better.
Exactly.
Like she gives everybody the best match, and Hogan never did that.
No, never.
She could get a good match out of me. Hulk Hogan couldn't get a good match out of me. He'd just fucking throw me on the ropes, do a big boot and a leg drop, and spend 20 minutes posing for the fans. And then go drink his racist beer.
Even the two lads who were on next couldn't get a good match out of Hulk Hogan. Friend of the podcast, Leon Cage, seeing him in person, when his match was announced, I was like buzzing because this kid is just incredible. Like,
I'm a huge fan.
absolutely insane. And first time I've seen Nino Bryant, came away a big fan of his as well. Like, really liked what he did. They went 20 minutes. It did not feel like 20 minutes.
Was it really?
I was just going to say that. I thought it felt like it was about 40 minutes. It was fucking brilliant. And Leon Cage, his selling was phenomenal on his leg, because at one point I actually thought he was fully injured. And every move he went for, the damaged knee kind of played into it. For that lad's incredible. And I feel vindicated now, having bought 2 pieces of his merch before anyone even knew who he was. So there we go.
We're going to see a lot more of him.
You're fucking unreal.
Yeah,
it's a very ambitious match, and it'd be very interesting to see where the pair of them are. But obviously, especially Leon Cage, it'd be interesting to see where he is, say, in 2027.
Yeah. Well, when we spoke to him, he was still like doing like college and stuff. Like the interview is like he's still like studying, and he's still. He probably is. He's old enough to buy a pint now, which is a big difference. But he's
to be honest.
Yeah. Just don't buy Hogan's racist beer if you go to a pub. But yeah, I think the kid's got like the brightest future. His finisher is just insane.
Oh,
It's when the Bucks did it on Dynamite, I think it was, and then Ospreay actually said, "Nah, here's the guy you want to credit for that," and he clipped Leon, and deservedly so, because that got me like really interested to see what he was doing. So it was great to see him in Donny, and I will not be the last. I really wish I could have got some merch of his, but I ran out of time.
Check his merch store, because his better quality merch. Sorry, is actually on there, because the T-shirt there is not as good as the other 2. But anyway, everyone should buy his merch. Support him. He's fantastic, and seeing him hit the stomp from the future in front of us was fucking incredible. Right in front of us. I've got a great clip of it. It was a privilege just to watch the 2 of them, and I'm a huge fan of Bryant now after that as well. I'd not really seen or heard much of him, and yeah, that's turned me into a fan. So I'll be watching a hell of a lot more of him as well.
Yeah, quite right. The main event, though, well, let's say semi-main event, double main event.
It's one of the best matches I've ever seen, and I still stand by that days later. It genuinely is. It's
for me,
live.
Are you putting it above Danielson Swerve?
Yeah. Like the Danielson Swerve, if you're watching it back, it's a great match, but it's more the emotion that carries that than anything else. The emotion and the spectacle.
Part of it's the emotion, yeah.
As just a wrestling match, this was fucking next level. It's the best I've seen live, I think. Like, just a pure quality wrestling.
RevPro last year, Zack Sabre Jr.
This was better than that.
So
it was.
For me, one of my favourite RevPro main events was Tomohiro Ishii versus Keith Lee. The whole match was basically around where the whole match was based around whether they could hit a suplex. They teased it multiple times. It was at York Hall. And it was to this day, it was one of my favourite matches I've ever seen. Made me a proper fan of Keith Lee. And I was already aware of Ishii up to that point. But no, this one was a different style of match, like stylistically. But it was, I would say, like, minute for minute, like, this one was better, like, just because of just the sheer quality of the I think, like, Leon Slayer is just on another level. I always knew Oku was good because I've seen him like several times at several shows now, but hadn't really seen Leon that comparatively as much. But he just gets better and better, and I think again he's another one who's just got like a incredibly bright future. And I think we are blessed to be able to, like, at least for now, like, see him in in the UK like as often as we can, because he's going places, that kid.
Completely agree. It's incredible. The 2 of them are amazing. I love this story in the match as well. We had another, some great selling, some great injury selling in that match that kind of took it one way then another, and that it looked like Leo Slater had him beat until Amira came out and on the edge of the apron, willing him along, kind of like Bryan Danielson's family when Swerve had him beat, willing him along. Come on, Mike. Yeah. Oh, it's great, brilliant. No cheap interference or anything either. It was just quality wrestling and a deserved finish. Mm-hmm. I honestly, everyone, if everyone's going to watch a match from this week, based on what I've seen, that's the one to watch from this week. It was just, if you can find it, if you've got RevPro Plus, or if not, maybe just keep searching YouTube and someone will probably upload it and it'll get taken down. But watch it quick while it's there, because it's excellent. It's phenomenal. Two of them are excellent, and now I'm going to start the campaign to stick the TNT title on Michael Oku at Forbidden Door. I that's what I want. I want a RevPro win at Forbidden Door, and the TNT title, Michael Oku, because the way things are going, these partnerships with anyone who's outside of the federales need to stay strong and stay together.
Definitely.
Well, speaking of someone who recognised what they're all about and actually went the other way, betted on herself, the main event, the big talking point, Mercedes and Kanji. What a fucking match!
Brilliant match again. So
Absolutely, so good. Like Kanji is again, a real stalwart in the ring. Like she reminds me of like Zack Sabre Jr., like a Serena Deeb,
yes.
like that kind of real technical whiz.
100%.
And Mercedes just, obviously, she has the experience factor, but it was a really simple story. Like, could Kanji just get it done? And there were times when you could almost think, because of Mercedes and how good she is at kicking out at like the last millisecond, that I nearly bit. Like I bit like just like once, twice. And that to me is what makes a real like match like entertaining. Like it makes it so much fun.
how many people, I mean, there are some, I'm not saying there's none, would you say have had a better 12 months, let's say from her debut last year? Who's match catalogue? How many wrestlers have got a better top 10 that are based in North America than Mercedes?
Female wrestlers or wrestlers generally?
Hmm?
Female wrestlers or
I'd say men and women.
I'd
Who've
say
got a top 10?
she's in the Osprey bracket in terms of every match is
5. Honestly,
every match is ridiculous. It's insane.
Yeah.
She's 100% in that bracket with Osprey, where there's no bad matches, and every match.
the one thing is her matches she's shown. The one thing is the variation in matches. It's the way that she can carry some matches. She can go long if needs be. She can sell the fuck out of someone. She can carry someone. She's honestly, like, I've always thought, I've said from way before she joined AEW, she's the best women's wrestler in the world. In my opinion, by a distance, definitely in North America. But what she's done in the last year, the match catalogue, I mean, some people are still going to go out there and, for some bizarre reason, try and shit on her, but she's on another level.
No, I agree totally. And on that match as well. I mean, like we know how good Mercedes is. She is incredible. Like her match quality is insane. Even outside of her actual technical wrestling, her facial expressions are second to none. She can sell anything. And unfortunately, a lot of people seem to get that confused with her being smug and arrogant. She's playing most of this for the character. I mean, we'll talk about what happened afterwards, which dispels so many of these stupid fucking ideas people have of her. But like, before we do, Kanji, how good is Kanji? Kanji is fucking
as well, exceptional,
and
unbelievable.
It's so good that what this does achieve from Hogan is that it puts the eyes on Kanji that will a lot of eyes that will have not been on Kanji before, and hopefully she's gained a hell of a lot of new fans from this because she's one of the best in the UK. And I would say, technically she's up there in the best in the world, and it's great for her to get this opportunity to go with Mercedes and go all the way and show just how good she is. It's fantastic, and there's huge things for her. Hopefully, she's gaining a lot more new fans, and yeah, it was great to see. She was very emotional at the end, but I think everybody was.
Yeah.
Well, it's one of them where like the Mercedes didn't necessarily elevate Kanji. Kanji was already like established enough, but what she did is she gave credibility to that, like to the whole evening, which was really largely about the women. The women's gauntlet was a big talking
100%.
point. Then main eventing was a real, good talking point. It's the last thing that a lot of people will remember about the night, and quite rightly too, because they absolutely smashed it.
I actually have my own agenda that I want to push, and that is for Kanji to win the Ring of Honor Pure Women's belt. And just,
Yeah, I've seen that.
I've seen someone mention that. I'm along with that. I think that's a great idea for Tony. Forbidden Door, you got 2 jobs. Well, you got loads of jobs, but 2 jobs that we're going to give you right now. Down because you need to remember them. Michael Oku, TNT champion. Kanji, Ring of Honor Pure champion. Get it done. Get it sorted. You know you need to do it. I'm looking at the wrong area. You know you need to do it. Get it done. Yeah.
Well,
We love you really, Tony.
Yeah, we do.
Stay on the subject of Mercedes then, as we've covered the show. Now again, double main event. Go out of your way to see both. Double main event, the world title and then the women's title. Go out of your way to see them. They were top top level matches that you won't regret seeing. Mercedes
this
after
guy.
the match.
He's
Oh,
fucking legend.
respect. Love that. On the topic of Mercedes,
What a dude! Like the way she was after the show, off air. How long she was there forever and speaking to everyone, and she was doing it for the love of the game. It seemed like she genuinely wanted to be doing that. She engaged with people. Anyone and everyone could have got a picture. And again, all these criticisms about her, again, because people seem to think that her wrestling gimmick, when she plays a bit of a dick, means she's a bit of a dick. I don't see any sign she's a bit of a dick from this. I saw someone who came out, put on a banging performance, and then appreciate that people have come to fucking Doncaster where they have terrible hot dogs and Italian food, and was there for the love of the game with the fans. You know, these are hardcore Mercedes fans that are staying behind at the end, and she showed them so much love.
it's a shame that Lucy couldn't make it. Like, her tyres were slashed, probably by someone in Stamford. There's coincidences, and then there's Lucy missing the best card of the weekend after being, an outspoken Mercedes fan. But yeah, watch him. And
yes, Stamford or elsewhere in the UK. There's a couple of options.
probably someone from Triple R. I mean, I'm gonna keep doing some digging, and I'll see if anybody in Mexico's got any sort of tyre-shaped knives left around.
I know Mike has his theories, but we won't go into that on here. So yeah, it was fantastic to see her doing. She kind of circled the ring and the barriers a good 3 or 4 times at the end there to make sure she covered everybody. And unfortunately, I got there slightly too late because I was oblivious to it all and didn't realise she was doing this because I didn't expect it. I thought she'd be pack her stuff up, maybe say hello to a few people and then fuck off. I didn't, and I turned around and Gav had got a picture. I was like, what the fuck, man?
Mm-hmm.
So I pegged it down a little bit too late. Got a picture of Lizzie Evo. Was chatting to Francesca for a while as well, having a whinge about the advertising in Doncaster because it was terrible. Again, there was, they should be. Why did they not have a fucking Mercedes poster up in Asda, which is across the road, saying, "Look, this is on over there." It's stupid. Like the kids would see that, ex-fans of the Federales, and they'd be like, "Holy shit, let's mom, dad, can I go over there?" It's just bizarre. I don't get it. But I guess that's a RevPro thing. It's not a new thing.
We said it's not as a RevPro thing. That's an everyone who's not WWE thing. They market themselves fantastically. No one else does. Well, they didn't last week, but they usually do. No one else does. AEW are terrible at it.
No, you're right. Actually, it is. Progress are just as bad,
It's
and
ridiculous.
AEW are just as bad. So yeah, no, you're right. But it would have been nice just to see that. See some of them posters not dotted around. Even I mean, like there was posters for events up in the Brewers Fair that we were in all day. And like, just for RevPro to just get a poster up in there, it's probably, they could probably walk in and say, "Can you put this up?"
Mm-hmm.
Or like say on Asda's notice board and things like that, maybe on a few lampposts. For God's sake, buy us a pint, Andy, and we'll fucking put a few posters around next time.
We'll be your street team.
Because I just like to. I'm a huge fan of RevPro. I think they're a fantastic promotion. I think what they do is incredible. I just want to make sure I want to see them do really well. So I
want to see them thrive, not survive, and they should be doing more.
Exactly,
because they've got the base to now. They've got the roster to. They've got the relationship with AEW to. When you're having a card with like people like Dijak, Leo Rush, Serena D, Mercedes on it, as well as your homegrown stars, like you should be getting double, treble what you had in through the gates the other day.
I agree.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
And like again, what I love about these shows, which everyone who's listening to this hopefully knows, because I'm hoping you all support your local promotions. But when they all hang around at the end, the wrestlers shilling the merch, but they're hanging around. They're all great for a chat, and I always try and buy something, even if I don't really want a new T-shirt. I generally try and buy one just to show my support. Hence why I bought a signed Leon Slater card last time, just because these guys are phenomenal at what they do. They put the bodies on the line. And it's incredible. It really is. I'm always amazed that I can't remember the last time I went to a show and didn't come away impressed. It's just fucking great. I love these shows. Yeah, can't wait for the next one.
Yeah, are we gonna do? I mean, really quickly, are you gonna do any other like of the RevPro like Rumble in London, or are you gonna do like any of the London shows leading up to Forbidden Door in London, or?
I'm going to do definitely the day 2 of Forbidden Door weekend. I'm still on the fence about one because of Riot Cabaret. Don't know why they're on the same fucking time. Global Wars. I'm probably going to book a hotel anyway soon and just take a punt for Global Wars because I'm hoping that's going to be in October. You'd imagine so because they tie that in with the New Japan show and kind of share a lot of the talent. So that should be shit hot again. In terms of the other shows, I guess I'll just see what who's on and what my situation is in terms of whether I can kind of make it to a show and stuff. Hopefully they'll do another Midlands one because I really wanted to go to that Wolverhampton one, but it was the League Cup final. In hindsight, I probably should have gone the Wolverhampton one, but never mind.
Coming from a Wolves fan, try to avoid going to Wolverhampton.
When is the Rumble? June 22nd. Is that?
I think so. I'm gonna consult your favourite resource right now, and I'll tell you. So carry on for a second.
So I've got it open on my phone anyway, but so I'm on Kanji's page at the moment. So no, I've gone off on a tangent here.
All right,
the Rumble is
Sunday 22nd of June. It's at York Hall. It's doors at 3, bell times 4. It ends at about 8 p.m. I mean, Mark and I could probably make that quite easily. And it's also on a Sunday. There'll be no football on that time since football season's over.
I'll be going to that, and I'll be going to Forbidden Door weekend. I'm definitely going to go to the Friday. Again, football fixtures pending for the Saturday. If Arsenal are at home, then I'll probably go to Arsenal instead. But if Arsenal are away, then I will go to both days of RevPro. And then Forbidden Door, then I've got a hotel by the stadium because Sweet Chin Disco will hopefully be on till 4 a.m. and get fucked. Am I getting a cab all the way across from South East to North West London at 4 a.m.?
Yeah, I'm not paying fucking 80 quid for a taxi.
The Radisson Red Hotel will be cheaper for me than getting a cab home.
Yeah,
but it's Bank Holiday Monday, so you could just die on the Monday.
Well, I can't. My job, I'll be straight into work first thing, but 4 hours sleep will do. But anyway, yes. Shall we seamlessly transition from taking out Mercedes to speaking about her former employers and an intriguing week ahead of WrestleMania?
Well, before we do that, I want to sort of just touch on this Bayley stuff. I mean, I didn't watch Mania. I mean, people correct me if I'm wrong, but apparently, Bayley got removed last minute from a match and replaced with Becky Lynch. And now people are saying that Bayley's been done dirty. I don't really know the full extent of it, so maybe someone can enlighten me. But
reading between the lines and listening to what she said since, I don't think she's been done dirty. I think this was not a last minute thing anyway. I think this was always a plan. I do think they don't have any interest in pushing her too much. She did actually say in an interview I've seen today that she's got a year and a half left and she does want to do a lot of other things outside. So she's clearly looking at maybe a dream match, elsewhere at some point. I don't know. I mean, would you like to see her go to AEW? I wouldn't. I don't think I would.
It's one of them. I mean, again, I think I fell victim to my own sort of complaint there. IWC projection and how when someone gets a hunch that people run with it, and on social media, it's about how MJF's definitely WWE bound. Daniel Garcia's a lock-in for NXT. Mariah's leaving based on an Alvarez and Meltzer vibe. But she's not out of contract till November, and Bayley's obviously not out of contract for a year and a half. You just said. Why is the IWC falling for this again? I mean, myself included. Why didn't we just do this song and dance?
We love salacious rumours. We love salacious rumours. We love feeding into it. Whether it's like with football, if our football team are linked with players, we know how far-fetched it might be. We still like to feed into it. We like to believe these things are going to happen. When we hear that a player, one of our favourite players, is about to leave, especially when it might be our favourite player going to Man United, as you've already heard today, Dan.
Yes, I have. I've heard that one. Again, I'm trying not to believe it. I don't want to believe it until someone actually comes out and says it's actually happening, like someone with credibility.
I think you're safe on that bit, Dan, because it was Man United and one of 5 other clubs, and I can guarantee you some of the 5 other clubs are other teams in the top 6 there. So I think you're safe. He's not going there, but he's definitely
the team we just beat as well. He didn't even score, but the team we just beat. But yeah,
I think rumours. Go on, Andy.
Yeah, well, that probably makes more sense. We might finish above this team. That's who's in for him, apparently. At this rate.
I'd love that. But it's like the Twitter thing, and social media in general. I'm convinced these guys like just talking about shit more than they do. I mean, we have a good friend, and I know he'll know exactly who he is, who likes stirring shit up on Twitter and spreading rumors more than he does actually watching the wrestling.
Hello.
Hello, friend.
Shouts to you.
But yeah, he's a bit of a. I would call him a bit of a cunt, but I might get blacklisted. But anyway,
Let's move on. So, from the rumors
Speaking
about
of
Bayley,
cunts,
here's
speaking
some
of cunts,
factual stuff. Here's some facts that happened with WWE last week.
Yeah.
The biggest week of their year. The biggest week of WWE's year, every single year. It's a week that the last couple of years they built to WrestleMania fantastically. They don't seem to have been in too bad a place from a PR perspective for a company that are the way they are. This year, however, things went tits up. And it started with the fact they, for some reason, couldn't keep AEW out of their fucking mouth. Literally couldn't keep AEW out of their mouth, which is very,
all right,
very
Will Smith?
odd. It did nothing for them. But then this is the things that actually did happen. So we know that the Bayley stuff is salacious rumours. What we do know from people's mouths is that Triple H came out and said that Vince McMahon was a genius and also told the fans to shut the fuck up and enjoy the shit I serve. Roman Reigns, for no apparent reason, came out as a Donald Trump fan and said he's supporting him in his current run. John Cena decided to profess his undying love for Vince McMahon. Again, completely unnecessary to say that you love someone who's currently involved in rape and sex trafficking scandals. But John Cena decided to do that just ahead of winning his 17th world title. Nick Khan decided to refer to the perennial monopolists WWE as the underdogs. Some random NXT jobbers were interviewed and came across incredibly homophobic. CM Punk was sent out to tell us that working for a MAGA affiliated company is exactly the same thing as being on Twitter. And Paul Heyman yesterday decided to come out as a massive bigot.
Mm-hmm.
And WrestleMania was not particularly good to go along with that. So, a bit of a bad week. However, Raw was really well received last night. Apparently, lots did happen. I saw what happened. I didn't watch it, but I've read it. Lots did happen. It was clearly a very event-fueled show. So therefore, we can ignore the WrestleMania build and WrestleMania being shit. Triple H is the best booker because he did one good show. And we can completely ignore a week of far-right links, terrible comedians, outright bigotry, and people praising sex predators because they had a good show.
Well,
I can tell you something
I can
about
test that.
WrestleMania week. I can tell you somebody who was sat at home loving WrestleMania week and who probably thought it was a fucking massive success. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is fucking buzzing today. I've never seen such cool, politicking. He's just there and he's not saying anything, but at the same time, he's completely thrown Triple H under the bus today. It's fucking brilliant. Dave Meltzer was saying this for ages, and he's been getting so much shit about this, and he's right all along. Like The Rock said, he only turned up at the Elimination Chamber because ticket sales were low. They asked him to because ticket sales were low. That's it. That's why he turned up. There wasn't a long-term plan. He was not going to be at Vegas. He said he was going to be at Vegas. They were all, oh, no, he's going to be there, don't worry. And Dave Meltzer was going, no, he's not going to be there. Rock wasn't there. It's fucking, this is a masterclass in scheming from The Rock, and I cannot wait until he gets his final revenge on Triple H, and Ali and The Rock get in there and clean house and get rid of Nick Khan and the Triple H.
He's not forgiven Triple H and Shawn Michaels for sabotaging him in his early career, is he? He's definitely remembered that after how like Shawn was behaving at his mum's wrestling show and just claiming he was a bigger deal than he was, and Triple H trying to sort of shoehorn his way into the good graces of the Federales. Now that Rock's like the bigger fish, he's not forgotten that.
I love The Rock. Honestly, the thing is, The Rock probably has all the same beliefs and leanings as Triple H, but he's just a far better politician, and he doesn't reveal any of this shit. He just puts on this smiley face, goes and makes a few Jumanjis, and everyone loves him. He'll turn up for one or two Raws, pop a rating, and then fuck back off to drink his fucking tequila somewhere like Dax. That's The Rock in a nutshell. And when he takes over, I might give it a watch, and just see how much of a change there is. I don't think there will be a change. I think that truck will just keep on fucking rolling. But who knows? And I can't wait to see Triple H out on his ass, especially after his China comments in the Hall of Fame shit.
The one thing is with WWE, it doesn't matter who's in charge. TKO are there now, so everything is going to be more advertising. How can we squeeze more sponsors onto this? The end goal will be the same. If it's Triple H, The Rock, or fucking J.K. Rowling sitting in that chair. That it will be the exact
Jesus,
same product.
Do you know what? When this new show they've got coming out, the writing room thing that is completely blowing the lid in kayfabe, the thing that everyone hates if anyone else does it but the WWE. You know, I mean, Bubba Ray Dudley won't even review a match, apparently, if someone kicks out of a pile driver because he wants to protect the business. But fucking hell, he's fucking buzzing over this show. I wouldn't be surprised to see if J.K. Rowling sat there in the background, fucking as part of the writing team. Because some of these fucking names they give the characters, and they're all fucking bigots. So
Exactly.
That's true. That's true. But
Fuck J.K. Rowling.
Fuck J.K. Rowling. You know, the irony about the Paul Heyman one. You know, you mentioned that earlier, Mark, about how didn't he make a deportation threat in the same week that the company has just bought a Mexican wrestling promotion?
fucking
Very
stupid.
classy, right? Very classy.
It's fucking ridiculous. It's
It's like and Nick Khan calling WWE the underdog. That's like Amazon saying that they're struggling to get by because Etsy's doing well.
it's just
it's
fucking
either
stupid.
gaslighting or it's early onset brain damage. It might be, you know, you might need to start rolling out CTE testing at TKO. I mean,
To be fair,
The thing is, it's what the Tories did ahead of the last election. It was constant lying, but once you said the lie and put it out there, the lie is out there, and enough people read headlines without wanting to read the context, without wanting to even read the first paragraph. And so, as long as they say these things, people will probably see it and go, someone will put two and two together. They said they're the underdogs. The other company are owned by the Khans who have all this money. Maybe they are the underdogs. Like, some people will take that based off of those comments.
that was the narrative they were pushing because they kept referencing Shad Khan and his billions.
Yeah.
They kept referencing that he owns the Jaguars, and they kept referencing referring to themselves as the underdogs. It was clearly a fucking narrative of, oh, how are we going to compete against this billionaire? Like, you know, never mind the fact that, like, you know, TKO have just gone and bought, another company. Wrapped it up. They've got a fucking boxing company they're forming, or something like that, isn't it, to do with the Saudis? It's fucking ridiculous. The whole thing's a fucking joke.
so
To the ground.
a question for the room then. Do you think the average WWE viewer then is just too media illiterate to care, or is it just actual tribalism at this point?
I think the average viewer doesn't care. I think that I wouldn't say. I think illiterate's harsh as well because I think it's just that the average viewer they have is the casual who just pops the channel on, and all they know is WWE. For instance, like it's an example. I was in Tesco today. I've got a Drew Parker t-shirt on. I'm walking through Tesco and a couple of little kids go, "Oh, do you like the WWE?" And I went, "Fuck off, you little cunts." No, I didn't really. I said I prefer AEW, and they were going AEW. I said, yeah, it's the other one. And they were like, we're big WWE fans. I'm like, oh, nice one. But like, that's it. It's unfortunately WWE is wrestling to a large portion of the world.
Yeah.
Kind of like if your nan would come and see you playing a video game years ago and go, oh, you're playing Nintendo, you know, and you're playing a fucking PlayStation. You're not going to turn around and go, no, it's a fucking PlayStation. They just see it as a, you know, they just think, oh, it's Nintendo, you know, and that's the thing with the Fed now. It's the default kind of name for wrestling for a hell of a lot of people. So, you know, even if you tell someone like AEW who isn't a big fan of wrestling, they'll probably go, oh, is that the WWE? You know, and it you know, that's what they're up against. So it just makes that's what makes this underdog thing even more laughable, to be honest. You know, it's like people, you know, it's like McDonald's claiming that fucking Wimpy are the big fucking bad and they're the underdogs, even though everybody, when you look for fast food, the first thing someone says is Mackey's.
Yeah. I mean, I had that after Doncaster because there was nothing else open, so it seems like I made the better choice rather than the Doncaster Italian food. But still, it doesn't mean I'm a McDonald's fan. It's one of them. But yeah.
Well, as far as I'm aware, Ronald McDonald isn't being charged with any sex trafficking, so I think you're all right at the moment.
Yeah, that's a
Although,
curse.
to be honest, he looks like one, doesn't he? So who knows with that stupid red wig. Anyway, he looks like Mick Hucknall actually. But anyway, fuck Mick Hucknall. And so you're muted, mate, or we can't hear you.
I'm muted. Just realised that I was waffling on for fucking ages there.
I was gonna say.
Bad choice.
Yeah, so we've covered all the negativity of it. Like, I watched a bit of WrestleMania, so I think as it's the biggest wrestling show of the year, I'll give a 30-second recap. The women's triple threat match was good. The main event of night one was interesting. Travis Scott being there was a shambles. What's the next topic?
Yeah.
So what Dan? Were we going to talk about any ID matches? Not ID matches. Any indie matches? I'm sorry, it's the same fucking thing right now, isn't it? For that collective.
It really
there was a few
really
standouts.
is. There are a few standouts. I mean, I'll give a particularly just very quick shout out to Progress Chapter 179. It didn't have its usual shouty clowns on commentary or the fucking bloke doing the ring intros. Small mercies. Vida Scott was actually on commentary for it. She actually elevated the show.
Are you telling me you're not a fan of Jerry Bakewell?
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he's a nice guy. It's not for me. I don't get it. But anyway, more importantly, Lycos Jim and Boisterous Behaviour slapped hard. Man like Darius and Leon Slater, I've already talked about them quite a lot. They continue to shine even if they're stuck in TNA, aka WWE NXT's development company or Evolve's development company or now AAA's development company. I don't know. It's like their younger, dumber sibling, whatever. But it's no. The match was great with Lycos Jim and Boisterous Behaviour. I really enjoyed that. Good friend of the podcast, Nina Samuels, retained her title against Vert Vixen and Rio, again proving that our guests are basically cursed to stay champions. Interestingly, Paul Walter Hauser won the Proteus title in a match that was kind of chaotic in the best way. Simon Miller did his thing. He's fucking quality.
He is brilliant. I love Simon Miller. He's put a call out there, hasn't he, that he wants to debut for a major promotion. Honestly, like I don't know
whether for Forbidden Door. Forbidden Door. Only book it.
It has to be. I mean, like you'd get the equivalent of what they've got from the Costco guys over there, but bigger for Europe, and that's where like I think AEW needs to capitalize on this. For me, it's a no-brainer. I would have Simon Miller debut there. It doesn't even have to be a big match, even on the pre-show. Just give him his moment. The guy's a fucking legend.
Because there was one bit in the first All In when he was like an extra, and so was Slater actually in the Rusev match with the stare down with Hobbs. He was there, and it got me thinking, like, they don't put people in there by accident. Like Lizzie Evo and Rio were the year after when Saraya come out. They took bumps from Jamie Hayter, which was pretty cool to see actually. But it's got to happen. Simon Miller's a treasure. He's a genius
Everyone behaved the way Simon Miller did online, there would be no discourse.
I know.
Everything would be healthy.
It's very
Everything
true.
would be great. Like, everyone could be a bit more like Simon Miller. Everyone could do it being a bit more like Simon Miller. Simon Miller fucking rules. If you have a problem with Simon Miller, you're the fucking problem.
That's it. You have to be doing something wrong.
Simon Miller. He is just wholesome to fuck.
Absolutely. But no, very quickly, just rattling off the last two. Cara Noir had a pretty beefy, hard-hitting match with Suzuki. He got dropped on his head about 4 times. He might not remember his own name after that, but probably worth checking out. I'd recommend it. Suzuki had a bit of a weird week, the matches that he had, but this was actually one of the good ones. And then, so we talked about Michael Oku. I was convinced he was going to beat Luke Jacobs, in the Progress title main event. It was genuinely a good match because both of them are excellent, but surprisingly, Jacobs walked away the winner. It's worth checking out. I enjoyed it myself. But just on this, we've sort of, the elephant in the room now is about the Federale's subtle re-infiltration of promotions like GCW and Bloodsport, and it seems Progress now. It's giving NXT UK reboots, and it does feel like another indie stifling project now. Marcus Mathers is one of them who is the only one that I really know of who's been in Progress that's been identified, if you like. But if he's just another cog in the machine, like what's the point?
It is. I mean, at the moment they say they're not making any calls. You had the GCW guy claiming he's not taking any money, which if he's not, then he's a fucking idiot, because why is he doing it? But he claims they don't have any influence over it. But like, that's what they did last time.
Well, yeah.
And then it's a point when they go, right, now this is what we want. It's people can't be this naive, surely. They're either naive or just waiting for that paycheck to the offer to sell up and fuck off. It's very worrying. That's why I tend to show more support for the other ones.
True indies.
Yeah, because there was a few standouts who didn't use any WWE talent. But while we're talking about WWE talent, Natalia in Bloodsport was phenomenal, and I've always thought she was dog shit. So, you know, and she's been benched essentially for a year since they re-signed her. So, like, what's going on over there? It's just fucking weird. Because I did not think she had that kind of match in her. I don't know.
Yeah.
It
People
was
can
excellent.
surprise you.
Actually, I'd advise watching it. It was that good. The standout for me at the weekend was probably, I mean, probably overall, I'd say Joey Janela does a hell of a lot for indie wrestling, and he doesn't get half the credit he deserves because people have an idea of what he's like. The guy clearly, you know, he clearly he's gave so many people opportunities this weekend. Given Sabu that send off, and look, Sabu looked like he was off his tits, but whatever. He's got his final match. He'll have got a little payday, and it's great for him to actually get something because he deserved it. Bozil and Megan Bain, him getting that was fucking ridiculous. But him being involved with the clusterfuck, which led to a young second generation star within it in Brody Lee Jr., which is just a wholesome moment, if anything. Man like the Reese in the clusterfuck was probably one of my favourite moments of the entire indie week when he came running in. His entrance was basically him coming into the clusterfuck with, rapping, and then he carried on wrestling while he was rapping. So he's kind of doing jumps over people, ducking under people, throwing people over the ropes while he's still rapping. He's got a mic in his hand. I think he eliminated Starboy Charlie while he was doing that, and then he tried to get some action with who was it now? Yeah. Anyway, you should watch it. It was very good. He was one of my standouts, Man Like the Reese. The guy's incredible. And so that's why it was fantastic when I'm on a bit of a come down after the events in Doncaster yesterday to see the announcement from TNT that he's going to be at the next TNT show.
Certainly is.
Fucking yes, get in.
Yeah, he's quality.
When I
Shout out
say
TNT as always.
one.
Exactly.
You are?
Shout out TNT as always.
Yeah, no, it's very really looking forward to it, and yeah, no, but like I said, Man Like the Reese, Michael Oku, Leon Slater, Gringo Loco was fucking excellent in the clusterfuck cage match. There was loads. Kid Bandit in the match with Zack Sabre Jr.'s excellence, and in the clusterfuck. There was loads. Honestly, I'd actually recommend the clusterfuck. It is a clusterfuck. There's a lot of shit in there, but there's some good. And yeah, Joey Janela's Spring Break I actually thought was very good as well. It's a shame about all the ID talent, but whatever.
Yeah, it's one of them, like, when we get like Mania week, obviously if you have Triller Plus, it's worth the price anyway. But you're spoilt for choice with all these kinds of like pay-per-views you can watch. They're only like 2.5 hours. But even if you just chose one at random, you could find something good. Unless it involves Butterbean. But that's by the by. No, it's all good.
I was giving Joey Janela a lot of credit there, but I forgot about Butterbean.
So
take that back, Joey.
We don't talk about that.
I do really rate Joey Janela. I've said this to you guys before. I think he was excellent when AEW had Dark. He put on some incredible matches across Dark, and he had a few good ones on Dynamite. I like him. I know he's a bit of a troll and stuff, but like I think he's great, and he puts on some great stuff. So yeah, I really enjoyed the Spring Break.
Yeah, done well. So, on topic of AEW, we've got a pretty tasty looking Dynamite this week. Mark's itching to talk about this for the last 5 minutes because he's not seen a thing that we've talked about. So over to you, buddy.
No, look, again, we'll be dropping this, I'm assuming, very shortly before Dynamite airs. Will be later today. So, yeah, as of now, we've got the Bucks' first match in AEW for the best part of, I'm going to say, 7 months.
Sounds about right.
Against Kevin Knight and Speedball. I mean, something decent happened at the end of that, but that's just going to be fucking good fun. And Jamie Hayter Statlander is a match that I've wanted to see for a long, long time, and I'm really, really looking forward to that one. And Tony Khan's been very quiet. He's let kind of like WWE implode over the last week on social. Sorry, I forgot Raw was good. Everything else is forgotten. Sorry, but he's been very quiet on social media. I'm expecting him to pick up with a fair bit of chaos. They're in New Orleans this week. It's a double recording. I expect them to carry on their recent run with very few blips. That's been exceptionally good. And yeah, I have got something else. I was talking to my mate Aaron earlier, and we were a regular viewer. So shout out to a regular viewer / listener of ours. And we were talking about the Death Riders. And now look, Pac's probably out for a while. What do you think is going to be the plan going forwards with them? Because I think they've already pivoted quite a lot already by having the trios title match that I think was probably going to be at Double or Nothing happen already to shoehorn in a Jovi Moxley match for then. What do you? I mean, if they're going to get they've got to get a new member surely now, because with the multi-man matches coming up, there are three man stable at the moment. Something has to give there. I saw something earlier that's probably ridiculous, but someone got pulled from an indie show and then everyone said it must mean that they're going to WWE. I thought maybe it means they're returning to AEW TV.
I hope not.
Who was this?
Yeah, who got pulled? What
Wardlow got
true?
pulled from a show.
He didn't.
I thought that was a
Did
troll
he?
move.
Did you not see that? No, what happened, right? Wardlow, ringside news, that famous fucking dog shit outlet reported Wardlow got pulled. And what happened, Sean Ross Sapp clarified this, what happened was they looked at his report that Warlord was pulled. And then he ran with it. So Sean Ross Sapp is running with it
Who
today.
am I to judge? Because I've read this completely wrong as well, so I'm not here to sit here and laugh at anyone, to be fair.
Yeah, doing that thing.
Put it out there on a fucking on an outlet that you're running, are you? But they went with it. They went with Wardlow, and it was Warlord. Warlord had been doing some stuff over the weekend, and he was pulled from one of the spots.
Okay. I knew that Ringside knew to fuck something up, but I thought that what they fucked up with was saying, oh, he's going to WWE. But I still thought he'd been pulled from a show, so I'll retract everything I've said there. I feel like a massive dickhead for that. So, but who could join the Death Riders then?
Maybe
They need someone else.
Maybe the Warlord. Maybe he comes and hits a full Nelson
Maybe
on.
it is a Warlord. Fuck yeah, maybe it is a Warlord. But they need someone else now. Like, if I don't know what multi-man matches we've got coming up. Blood and Guts, Anarchy in the Arena, Stadium Stampede. Two of those three, I would imagine. And I can't see how they don't involve. I mean, I personally think the original plan. I don't even know what the original plan was now. I just feel they definitely, with Pac's absence, said, right, let's get the trios titles onto the ops now. And so they've obviously got something else in store. But if the Death Riders are going to be involved in these matches, they need at least another man.
Yeah, I still think. Who, Danny Garcia? I don't think so. I think he's pinnacle bound. I personally think that it's still going to be the Elite, and I think it's all a ruse. And I think come Double or Nothing, they're going to try and fuck over Hangman, and that's going to set up his path then through to All In to take the title off Mox. I think the Elite will show that they're actually not on his side, and they're in league with the Death Riders. I think Jack Perry will probably make his return at that point. I don't know. Maybe it's just I'm just being hopeful, but I just think that makes so much sense with giving Hangman, more of a mountain to climb. Face running up to All In. A bit of a bigger path rather than just waiting for that match against Mox.
Because we need to. This is not 4 weeks in between. We've still got over a month till Double or Nothing, and the Owen's nearly finished. We've then got 7 weeks, I think. So we've got 14 shows. So there's a hell of a lot of there's 28 hours of TV for us to get from the winner of the Owen to the actual main event. So there's a lot of hurdles that are going to need to be overcome in that time. Because people kept saying about the Bucks v Hangman and Swerve being this big fucking tag match All In. No one wants to see that on pay-per-view. That could main event a Dynamite, and that's fine then. They've got a couple of special Dynamites coming up. That could be a main event of that, with Hangman and Swerve still not on the same page, because I still think the big moment is Swerve's interference helping Hangman win the world title at All In, and I'm going to stick to that. And I'm not saying it's a direct kick to the face, he's helped you win. Just stopping other people interfering or whatever.
I'd take that. I would 100% take that, and that's why I would like to see the Elite in with the Death Riders. Because it makes too much sense. There's so many things that we've all seen that link the Death Riders to the Elite. It makes far more sense than them just being like, oh well, we've got nothing to do with them. We just did this to help you. I think they are in league with the Death Riders. I still think Jack Perry is going to be involved, and I think it makes for a far more compelling run to All In rather than just Hangman versus the Death Riders. If as it should do, Hangman makes it through. Because then I think you've got a team AEW which could consist of Moxley. Not Moxley, fucking hell, I'm going off my tits here like Sabu. No, is this water? it could consist of, Ospreay, Kenny Omega, you've got Speedball and Kevin Knight maybe.
Kingston's back for that. I'm sure Eddie Kingston's back by then for that.
Yeah, hopefully Eddie Kingston's back. And who knows what side I'd imagine they're going to be in a separate feud, but who knows where the hits in they're going to be by that point. Because I'm guessing they're going to be kind of more faces by that point when MJF eventually does whatever he's doing. The most hated man on TV last week, by all accounts. And
I think you're looking then heading into All In at two like mega stable feuds. You're looking at MJF's Pinnacle, the Hurt Syndicate. Then you're looking at Team AEW again. Let's say Ospreay, Eddie Kingston, or whoever else. We saw in the ring last week. There could be the Ops as well then against the Bucks and them, and so you've got two huge stable matches there. So it'll be interesting to see what the layout is. Is one of them just going to be a normal tag match? I don't know. Who knows?
Because otherwise, who did the Bucks face? It's not going to be FTR. FTR are heels now, so they're out of the window. Thankfully, we're not going to end the match.
That feels like a shoo-in for All In.
But could we get to Cope and Christian being faces that quick? Something's going to have to happen really soon if that's the case.
Wait, who aligned with Cope last week?
No, well, nobody, because Cope's been written off since Dynasty.
It could end up being. It wouldn't surprise me if it ends up being. It could be McGuinness and Cope against FTR at Double or Nothing or something like that. Oh, that match could be could be something.
McGuinness is going to want a partner, definitely.
Yeah. He's just one Cope.
Maybe that's how you bring Bryan Danielson back as well. Because I put it a while ago. I still think there's a mutual respect between them two. I know I pushed it for All In last year, but I think there's going to be a moment where them guys turn up. It's team up.
Return in the Death Riders feud though.
Yeah, I know. I think you're going to have not two sides, but you're going to have so much, like you said, faction wars going on that it's all going to cross over at that point. You would think, because Tony loves his factions, doesn't he?
He's absolutely mad for him.
He's fucking great.
He's fucking mad for him. But I think, to me, because they've lost Pac now, the Death Riders do need, now, if you're going to drag out the Moxley title run until All In, where he probably is going to lose it.
Onto All In at least.
Yeah, if you're going to drag it out, have the match with Joe at Double or Nothing, or if not before, and then however you do the Anarchy in the Arena, which seems to be the thing for Double or Nothing now, you have Team Death Riders / Elite versus Team AEW. Whatever you do with Blood and Guts between then and All In, again, it's got to be the kind of same mishmash of people, isn't it? I don't know how you throw the Pinnacle in there. It seems a bit weird, although the motive for MJF is clearly just getting his title back, and he's called him Dictator Mox and stuff like that. So I do think there's some, there is some path being taken, but it does seem that the only people you can bolster the Death Riders now with is the Elite. I don't see who else fits, who else they add.
Anyone else would just feel like a random hot shot, to be honest, because there's nothing else that's kind of been laid out that would make any sense. There's not been any hints aside from maybe if Jack Perry did it. I can't think of anybody else that would fit that stable. There really isn't. Actually, whoa! I don't know if he's injured still. Leather jacket, Orange Cassidy.
Oh, he's going to be injured for a long time, but he's got to come out.
Is he fucked? Is he?
Oh. No, I think a few weeks ago he was rumored to have fucked his leg, MCL or ACL. So he's out for a while. Unfortunately,
perfect.
Oh, for sure.
The big heel turn I want to see, and I want to see this because the fans have basically forced him into this, is Darby Allin when he comes back. I want to see him come back as a heel because the fans have turned on him so much over this Brian Alvarez report that he was, convinced them that Tony's waiting for him. I'd love to see him just come back as a heel and be like, fuck you, I've been away trying to climb a mountain and you're just slagging me off. And then Sting come down, does a word, beat the shit out of Sting as well. Let's go.
I don't where Darby is now playing with fire, figuratively speaking. I wouldn't feel comfortable speculating on his future until I know that he's absolutely safe on the ground. Yeah. You know what I mean?
We'll feel like a bunch of cunts, won't we, if he dies?
Oh my god!
Yeah,
be like Mark last week with Terry Nutkins.
Oh dear. No, I think The only other one who hasn't come back yet, but again, thinking about it, like his character, it wouldn't make sense, but it would be a real good shocking moment. Is Eddie Kingston? Eddie Kingston aligning with the Death Riders, saying, I'm not happy about it, but I'll never turn my back on you, John.
I think it would make sense. I think it would make sense there.
To me,
Just
the sticking point is just the fact that he hates Claudio that much, and they've kept that consistent for years.
Yeah.
That's the thing that sticks out to me. But I could be wrong. I could be completely off base there. But
If we're looking at, say, a blood and guts match or Stadium Stampede, I'm looking at the Team Death Riders. If we're saying it's going to be Claudio, Wheeler Yuta, the Bucks, it needs someone else strong in there. It needs
I can't
a big
think.
name.
I can't think of anyone like you got.
If it's Jack Perry, like if you're going up against a team that could be Danielson, Kingston, fucking Darby Allin, Ospreay, it feels like a very one-sided match. Then they need a big. They need an Eddie Kingston in there. Like so, if it's Eddie, Claudio, Wheeler Yuta and the Bucks, that feels a bit stronger. But as it stands, having Jack Perry and Wheeler Yuta with the Bucks and Claudio, that team feels like it's just going to get battered.
The only thing that makes sense is the Elite. It's the only thing that makes any sense, and it does make sense storyline wise anyway because of the way it all transpired last year. I think that would be the best way to go myself. And you've got Hangman then being you could even factor that into Hangman being pulled from side to side. You know, still on his way to returning to babyface. You know, does he give a fuck about the Elite? Are they on his side, or is he just fucking them all off and going back to clean shaven? No perm, Hangman.
Clean shaven Hangman.
It's exciting stuff, to be honest, because I really.
It's very exciting at the moment. Again, I'm a big fan of all the stables. There's so many directions. Well, the only person who I don't see who has their route to All In clear at all is Ospreay, assuming he's not going to win the.
Well, I was just going to say, do we like? We know he's a very good heel. He's done a year of solid face work. Do we see a Will Ospreay heel turn coming at some point?
I don't think this year. I don't think so.
I think you turn him when he's world champion. I think it gets to his. I think you have in the face. He wins a title from Kenny or whoever it is All In next year, and then during the reign he turns heel.
I think they've struck gold because he's moving a lot of merch and he's really hitting. He's on fire. And the thing is as well, I know AEW needs heels. That's the thing. It's like they're very babyface heavy. The person who I think should turn heel over the next few weeks is Swerve. If you're gonna push the slow Hangman babyface,
because he's got to help Hangman. I think he's got to have the redemption.
After that, when Hangman's world champion, then Swerve goes heel.
That's one thing.
Do you know what? I actually, if it wasn't for how it's transpired with Mox, I'd be all for that because I do think Swerve turn heel would make a hell of a lot of sense. And you don't need to do the look. You don't need to do the Swerve finally accepting and apologising yet. You could do that down the line. There's no rush for that. It's a long-term story. This could go on for years between the two. And that's why I didn't want to rush to the fourth match anytime soon. So, like, you could actually do that. But the only thing that stops me from being excited about that happening is the way Swerve has been positioned recently. It would feel like the last couple of weeks have been a complete waste of time. If he was going to turn heel, it should have been 2 months ago. So I don't know, but I'm glad you're actually on board now because when I said this a few weeks ago, you guys all disagreed with me. But like, there's definitely a problem with heels in AEW. There really is. People say they're a heel-centric company because the heels are winning every week, but in reality, they're a face-centric company because there's not outside of Mox. Who are the real heels in AEW?
There's MJF, Christian for now. If they're going to push him and Cope reuniting, that's going to turn them face. So Christian might not be a heel for very long.
Finally, we're going to get we've got FTR as heels, which we've been calling out for ages. So I'm glad that's happened.
Okada's a heel, but he just gets cheered non-stop because he's fucking Okada.
That's a
Caster and the Callis family. Yeah, the Callis family are all heels. But again, I think you just need like somebody to turn heel, like a really shocking heel. And I think
how long is Jay White
the two biggest ones would be Eddie Kingston and Swerve for me. Them two.
I hope Jay White's not for long because do you know what? I would love Jay White to be to come in as a Death Rider and actually overtake Mox once he loses the title.
That'd be cool.
I would love Jay White to just make it his own group by the time Mox loses that title and actually end up taking out Mox eventually. I think I want to see New Japan Jay White. Some of the best promos.
He's a heel than a face as well.
Yeah, and
I think he's quality as both, but yeah, I mean, for me, like I became a proper fan when he was a heel, like the like when he was leader of the Bullet Club. And speaking of that, really quickly, have you seen that the Bucks, what the match that they're having in Japan? It's
Yeah,
them
fucking please
with
no.
with two mystery partners against the Bullet Club War Dogs.
Yeah, I think one of their
So we
mystery
might get that wish. That could come to fruition. You never know.
One of their mystery partners is a big fan of Wrestling Mark, and the other mystery partner, I like, and that mystery partner I actually do rate. The other mystery partner, I hope I never have to see on TV again because I just don't rate him at all. I think he's atrocious. Sorry.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about, but even so, like the signs, seemingly are put there for a reason. It's like with the whole Swerve heel turn thing, like the tease of the turn on Nana or the Nana turn on him was deliberate. In the match with Ricochet that he had at Revolution. And some stuff went down in the Moxley match where you thought, okay, maybe there could be a turn here, like happening.
Yeah.
So if I'm Tony Khan, or I'm not, because I'm not gonna speculate, but his track record suggests that these are by design. So we could see it happening. What either Nana turns on him or Swerve turns on Nana. I'm not pivoting. I know you hate that word. I'm not pivoting.
Do you think we get then at the? I actually think for the pay-per-view would be a good one. Would be Daniel Garcia teaming with Nigel McGuinness against FTR and turning during the match.
Yeah,
I think that's
beating the shit
Yeah,
out of
that
Nigel.
works. That works good.
And then, as we said last time, he can play into the whole look when MJF beat the shit out of me, showing me that being a good guy gets you fucking nowhere. You've got to make things happen yourself, or something along the lines of that. I've gone from thinking they need a big man to thinking they'd actually be good as a four with them, because that reminds me of the original Horsemen with Flair and obviously the Andersons being FTR, but then Garcia being the father of a racist women's wrestler in the group. So yeah, I think it would actually work really well. So that's what I want to happen, and I also want at some point, what about this? David Arquette make his final unveiling there, which would lead us on to our I believe we were going to chat about our favourite celebrity wrestlers after the abomination that was Travis Scott doing something at the weekend. I don't know what the fuck it was like, and apparently it's his full-time job now. He's told Triple H, this is my full-time job now. Good luck with that. Fucking hell.
Yeah, the only person excited about that was Triple H from his house while he was wearing his Logan Paul t-shirt.
Yeah, fuck me. Honestly, it's becoming a celebrity fucking. It's basically
that's what TKO won though. That's what TKO envisioned it being.
So, best celebrity. Admittedly, it's a really silly one. Is it at Mania or in wrestling in general?
Just in wrestling in general, your best. Should we go for our best first, and then we'll do our worst?
Yeah.
So the best first. Go on. I'll go last.
I fucking hate celebrity involvements. I never enjoy it. I really don't. I'm so miserable with it. I'm not going to give anyone favourite because I don't like it. But Bad Bunny was really good. I like Shaq, and that's what I'm going to give.
Again, it's the only one I can think of at the moment because I too sort of put it out of my mind. Was Karl Malone with Dallas Page, perhaps, or Johnny Knoxville with Sami Zayn. It might be, they weren't anything like groundbreaking, but I guess it was quite surreal more than anything. But the guest host era of WWE was a real low point for me. So ever since then, I've zoned out completely. So I could pick about 7. I could pick about 100 worsts, but yeah, my best one's probably Johnny Knoxville or Karl Malone.
I'm surprised mine hasn't got mentioned, and I've got a feeling I might be nipping it off you, Andy. But Stephen Amell.
No, that's a good one. No, that's a good one, actually. He was very good. He was really
I think he had 2 solid matches.
Yeah. No, he did. He was actually a really solid one.
Yeah. Lied to the people at Arrow about doing the Christopher Daniels match at All In. Yeah. Class.
No, that's a good one, now. For me, obviously, it's David Arquette. His original stuff was rubbish, but the stuff he did later on, and if you watch, I'll constantly plug his documentaries. It's phenomenal. If you watch him, he really got into it. He was training, with a load of luchadors. RJ City was doing a lot of work with him. He did the death match he had with Nick Gage. Is just fucking scary stuff, like really scary. And he worked his ass off to try and prove that he wasn't a piss take and he wasn't a joke, and he is a credible former WCW champion. He became that by the end of it, because he really did. And I was really hoping AEW would do something with him at some point, just because I'm a big fan. Not sure I'd like to see him wrestle at any points, but we know the end game isn't being in charge of the Death Riders. But more recently, I'd say Shaq was brilliant for that one moment. I know you mentioned that. He was great. He took that table like a champ. And the big one, I'd say, it's got to be Dennis Rodman in the NWO. Mainly because he actually did all right, and he didn't change his character at all. He was just himself. He was just Dennis Rodman. And when you watched, I don't know if any of you guys ever watched that Bulls documentary on Netflix. It's fucking fantastic if you haven't. But they talked to Phil Jackson, and he said, like, Dennis Rodman didn't they didn't tell any of them what he was doing. They were in the fucking finals, and he's just like, they turned the TV on, and he's there wrestling, and they're like, what the fuck? We got a match tomorrow. And yeah, no, he was class. Really big fan of Dennis Rodman. And he's a fucking legend of basketball as well. But yeah, what he did was excellent, and having to put up with Hogan must have been a fucking nightmare. So fair play to the fella. And worst, in terms of worst, it's got to be Jay Leno. I don't think there's anyone worse than Jay Leno. Jay Leno was a fucking atrocious. He should have. That was Bischoff. One of his lowest points, to be honest. I still.
I can go for the worst, and I think I can speak for a lot of people in the room. Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You win.
Yep. The
Jay
worst.
Actually had a match, but yeah, I get it. Donald Trump himself being anywhere near is by default worse.
Yeah. I mean, if we're gonna sort of overlook that, then other ones like Machine Gun Kelly, I fucking hate that guy. Kevin Federline, like awful, absolutely awful. The fact that they had him beat Cena as well, I remember that one.
What?
Yeah, they had Kevin Federline pin Cena on Raw.
What? Really?
Not recently.
Yeah.
This is quite some years ago.
2005.
Yeah. So
Fucking
that was a thing. And I didn't like Cena at the time as well. I was not a fan of his at the time. So, and even that pissed me off. But anyway, yeah.
That's fucking mental.
There's been some shocking ones. Even Mr. T back in the OG WrestleMania was shocking because he had no idea how to wrestle, and he was just trying to fucking do fake boxing with Roddy Piper, and it was awful. And I know that was a big spectacle at the time, but looking back at it, it's fucking shocking. It's absolutely atrocious. And I used to love Mr. T. Terrible. But
The entire
sorry, Mike.
The entire guest host of Raw run for me.
It was horrible. Absolutely awful.
Well, do you ever remember when there was a WCW were going to get Terry Crews involved, and there was a few segments where he was in the crowd, and they gave him a wrestler's name and everything? No, that was before he got like big into acting and stuff. Yeah, he was another one that was going to be involved.
I didn't know that.
And in terms of celebrities, I don't know whether you'd call him a celebrity because he was famous for UFC, but he definitely wasn't a fucking wrestler. Tank Abbott is one of the worst people I've ever seen step into a ring.
Yeah.
I have no idea what the fuck they were thinking. That was their version of Ken Shamrock. You couldn't have got someone polar opposite, to be honest. But while we're talking about celebs, I have to give a shout out to the man who won the Proteus at the weekend, Paul Walter Hauser. He's put the work in. He can actually wrestle. He's actually quite decent. Fair play to the guy. He's been a big fan of wrestling, and he's Golden Globe winner. And he chooses to try and be a wrestler in his free time, which is great,
One last one. Cain Velasquez. He was fucking terrible.
God, yeah. Fuck
Oh,
yeah.
he's in prison now, isn't he? Or has he just been released, or has he just been sentenced?
No, he's
yeah. I mean, like, didn't someone like sexually? It's quite a dark story, but
yeah.
I think I don't blame him for what he did. I think that's what I put it that way.
Okay.
Essentially, yeah, I think he's I think he's getting out soon, isn't he? And there was a big like cheer at his reduced sentence or something by people because it's
he's got like a year left, I think.
Yeah. But you talk about that. What about Junior Dos Santos then in AEW when Dan Lambert had his faction and nearly broke his neck trying to do a fucking standing moonsault?
Yeah, the whole American top team.
MMA and wrestling is wild. Like, 'cause they had who else do they had? They had Andrei Arlovsky as well, and they had
Paige Van Zandt.
Paige Van Zandt. That was it. Oh,
The JDS
that's a good
stuff
one.
though, like he was clearly getting well into it and really enjoying
He
himself.
was.
And he goes,
He
"Oh yeah,
was.
I'll go for a fucking standing moonsault," and almost landed vertically on his fucking neck. Yeah, thankfully
Dead
he
quick
brutalised
one.
himself on live TV.
The one and only time TNA will get mentioned on this podcast. Tito Ortiz and Colby Covington were in TNA for a bit.
There was also another
and
one,
she's done.
Adam Pac-Man Jones, because at the time when he was he'd had some kind of charge against him, but also he was booked in a match, but he wasn't. His contract says he wasn't actually allowed to wrestle.
Fuck's
That's
sake.
that's TNA for you.
Should we finish with questions? Because it's
Let's
Well,
do some
Yeah.
questions.
let's do something.
Come
I've
on, Mike,
got them
throw
here.
some curveballs at us.
Oh, you got them done?
I do, yeah. I've got one which we can feed off straight away.
well,
Look,
sorry. Before we move on, the best celebrity of all time. I've just googled it. The best of all time has to be what's his face, Andy Kaufman, doesn't it? Surely. Like he actually
Yes.
had a legit fucking gimmick when people thought wrestling was real. A legit feud with Jerry Lawler.
that's
Like
true.
that's legendary. He's got to be the best of all time, I'd say. But whatever. Anyway, sorry.
It's all opinion, isn't
Just
it?
popped
But
up on the screen there.
yeah, I've got them. So leading on from that, it's quite a good question from Punished Bidoof, top person in the Discord. If you could partner with one musical artist to kill professional wrestling at the behest of Dwayne Johnson, who would it be?
Jelly Roll.
Jelly Roll. I think. I mean, I have to think about mine, but I suppose if you're gonna give anybody anybody who would probably do it at the drop of a hat if he was paid the right figure, it would be Kanye West, because they would do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I've got someone who, like, obviously P Diddy's a natural fit, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He is.
He fits that company like a glove.
Oh.
Yeah.
Kid Rock.
Kid Rock. Yeah, that's a good one.
Another fit.
Well, and on the
Yes,
same
Ed.
topic, who would be? This is from Serve. Who would be a great actor from non-WWE wrestlers? I presume he means which of the wrestlers currently would be a good actor. I think that. Apologies if I've fucked that
Hangman.
up. But yes, I was going to say
Ha-
MJF. I was going to say MJF.
Yeah, Hangman's the one. I know Mike's just said that Hangman's the one for me. His acting is absolutely phenomenal.
MVP would be a fucking great actor.
Yeah. Yeah. Another one from Dunner3. What's the best direction for FTR to go in? Do they go straight for the titles or be killers like they have the last 2 weeks?
Killers.
Killers.
Join MJF.
Yes. It's the tag titles, because the way I see it, that with the Pinnacle thing, MJF's gonna try, and he's gonna get rejected enough times to the point where he's gonna have a plan up his sleeve, and he's gonna beat the shit out of them, and he's not gonna do it alone. He's gonna do it with FTR and a heel Daniel Garcia. That to me is the play.
I
They're
actually
gonna outnumber the Hurt Syndicate, and FTR are gonna go after Lashley and Shelton.
I wouldn't be surprised as if he reveals the Pinnacle or whatever they're going to call themselves, Dynasty, whatever, when they beat them for the tag titles. He kind of feigns siding with the Hurt Syndicate, and we're all going to see it coming. But then he, low blows Bobby Lashley or something, and FTR beat the shit out of him, and it's revealed that they're part of the stable. Yeah, I think that's happening. No, that's got to happen.
It seems like that. It seems like it.
Speaking of tag teams, by the way, a quick one before we move on to the next question. Where they're going? Did you guys see Nick Wayne's post win interview? He sounded so much like Christian.
He does.
That was incredible.
Christian has coached him brilliantly. He really has.
I'm guessing they've done that on purpose so that he's going to be, next to beat the shit out of Christian. But fucking hell, it was uncanny, the word that he was using, everything, and his mannerisms. It was brilliant.
If you didn't look at it, if you listened to it, you'd assume it was Christian speaking.
No, it was great. Anyway, sorry.
Nick Wayne's quality. So last one from Gav, who top fella, love the bloke. Great to see you at the weekend, Gav. This is a tough one actually. Oku, Jacobs, and Tate Mayfairs. One goes to the Fed for life. one goes to AEW and one stays on the indie scene, what way do you personally want them to fall?
Fuck's sake, that's impossible. He's a cunt. Gav, why have you done this, man? You know these are three of the best. Oku to AEW, I think he's a perfect fit right now. I think Jacobs would suit the Fed more. I think they would bill him like Walter kind of run. And I love Tate Mayfair's. I wish him. I honestly, I want him to get the bag as much as he can. But I'm sorry, from a selfish point of view, mate. I love you doing all the promotions in the Indies and taking that TNT title all over the world. I think he's incredible. And just purely from a selfish point of view, that's what I would do. But from a non-selfish point of view, that guy would be made for the Fed. He'd kill it. Or AEW, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think my answer's the same. It does seem like that's that's likely the likeliest route. Like Jacobs is going to go to the Fed, Oku is probably going to go to AEW, and then Tate Mayfair's is going to be on the Indies for a while. But he honestly, yeah, they're all so good, and I think whatever they end up doing, I just hope they get like the bag, and I hope they end up having a really successful run because they deserve it. You know, they've ground really hard on the indie scene, and you know they deserve their flowers. So
Well, if Tate Mayfair's manages to get his wish and ban deathmatch wrestling, he might have to leave the indie scene. But I guess we'll see. He's fucking ace. He's so fucking good, honestly. I
he
love
is
him.
brilliant. Yeah, dream guest. Tate, if you're
God,
listening,
yeah.
come on the pod. Tell us about how much you hate indie deathmatch wrestling. We'll we'll promote it to our loyal non-deathmatch watching audience. Mike, who would you pick?
Same. Oku I think, is a dream fit for AEW. I think Jacobs would do well in AEW, but he seems settled on to the Fed, so it is what it is. And Tate, King of the Indies.
Respect, Mark.
Do that. Works for me.
I think all three are interchangeable. To be honest, all three would fit in any. They're that good that they would fit in any position perfectly, and I don't think you would see any issues with any of it. I think Goku, if he was booked right, would be phenomenal in the Fed as well. As much as I wouldn't like to see it.
The issue with him in the Fed would be in WWE is his match style. He's a long match person.
Yeah, no, I get that, yeah.
They don't do long matches.
Yeah, they'd stick him in 10-minute matches against fake Mexicans.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
These fake Mexicans are cons, aren't they? I fucking hate them. The WWE they're putting fake Mexicans everywhere. What are they like? Absolute scum. No one would do that. What kind of non-Mexican would put in a lucha mask?
Absolutely horrendous behaviour.
Dickheads, man.
I can't believe it. Well,
and with that,
on that, yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. I'm going to go and continue with my investigation here in Mexico and find out what Conan's been up to.
Yeah,
go and see who else has had a PR disaster for WWE this evening.
Yeah,
I'm going to go play some CS.
I'm going to go and get some food, and with that, I'm going to reveal myself.
Oh my God!
You can stop recording.